Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about Derek Carr. Now, Las Vegas currently must trade or release Carr prior to February 15th. That is the day that Derek Carr's $40.5 million roster bonus becomes guaranteed. That roster bonus consists of his salary for next year of about $33 million, and then the year after that in 2024 of $7.5 million. Now, the deadline is basically Valentine's Day, right? Which is less than 2 weeks away. We're like, 10 days away from them. Now, Derek Carr has a no-trade clause. And the Pro Bowl complicates everything. So if you guys saw in the news today, the Raiders have granted permission to Derek Carr to look into trades. Talk to teams and figure that out. So this is something we talked about kind of all week on this channel, which, by the way, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Raiders content. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers before the NFL draft, so if you could get this video to 250 likes, that would be awesome. Appreciate you guys so much. We're going to be doing so many lives, by the way, this offseason. I absolutely cannot wait. Now, here's where things get complicated, and it's just a really complicated matter, and I want to get this out of the way real quick. Actually, no, let's get it. If the Raiders don't want to worry about Derek Carr getting injured because he's playing in the Pro Bowl, which is next week, it's in a couple of days. Yeah, oh my goodness, it's 2 days away from now. It's already, how did it get to Friday? So it's February 3rd at the time of this recording. It's Friday. The Pro Bowl is in a couple of days. If Derek Carr gets injured, bang, guaranteed money. Here you go. So theoretically, for the Raiders, if they can't find a trade in the next less than 24 hours, the next 36 hours or so, it would make more sense to release him as far as just a team, risk management standpoint goes, than possibly him getting injured in the Pro Bowl. Now, it is the Pro Bowl, and guys don't really get injured, so take all of this with a grain of salt because, this could just be the media trying to stir things up. Now, the thing with Derek Carr is if any team were to trade for him before basically Valentine's Day, they're taking the next 3 years, $121 million of his contract and the roster bonus. So you need to consider that heading into it. And that's why so many Raiders fans have been very skeptical about a possible trade, because we're thinking to ourselves like, all right, well, say I'm a team like the New York Jets or the Carolina Panthers or the Houston Texans. Why would I give up any type of asset to take on $100+ million contract in Derek Carr? Now, from our standpoint, it's like, I'm perfectly fine with either a trade where we get essentially little to no value, or I'm fine with releasing him. And this is something I've seen a lot in Raider Nation since the offseason has started, essentially. I don't mind the contract. I think it was actually a genius move. The Raiders right now, the front office, the coaching staff, somehow, someway, Josh McDaniels is getting blamed for this contract somewhere. It's funny, but I like it. Because imagine it from an outsider standpoint. Obviously, most Raiders fans, just about every Raiders fans, including myself, love and appreciate Derek Carr. But take it from an outsider standpoint like Josh McDaniels. This guy's never won a playoff game. Okay, yeah, he has some nice accolades. He's thrown some touchdowns. He's thrown some yards. He had a nice year 2 years ago. All right, so we have a new GM and we have a new coach. So why am I going to pay him this fat bag when he's not the guy I want? But you know what? Let's at least give him a shot, right? Let's give him Devontae Adams. Let's give him an offense. And let's at least give him a shot. And let's see what he can do. And what happened? Well, don't let the statistics fool you, because when you look into the statistics, the big number is 14 interceptions, which I think often goes unsaid. That's not a good number for a quarterback, but at the same time, it's not. It is really bad, but there's worse numbers. I'm thinking of Brett Favre right now in my head. Anyways, it makes sense from like a team logic standpoint to give Derek Carr the contract he was given, because you want to please the Raiders, you want to please the teammates, the coaches, etc., management, the fans, all of that stuff. But at the same time, I also want to be sold that he can play in my system and that he's the guy I want in the long term. Well, the unfortunate facts are Derek Carr had a very inconsistent year. Yes, there were some good games. He had some really good games, as he usually does every season. But there were some absolute stinkers. And I keep going back to that Saints game all the time. And I'm like, well, the play calling's getting so much diss. But at the end of the day, why am I getting shut out by the New Orleans Saints? I don't care what the play calling's like. Why am I getting shut out by the Saints? And it's like, oh, well, our defense sucks. Well, okay, I get that. I get the defense sucks. But another harsh reality is that's what happens when you're the starting quarterback. What's the most important position in football? Well, the answer is the quarterback. So, yes, the quarterback's going to shoulder the blame. He's going to shoulder the responsibility for the good and for the bad. That's his responsibility. So I think a lot of Raiders fans, since the end of the season, have really come along, or just even midway through the season, have really come along to the fact, like, yeah, okay, maybe the play calling wasn't perfect. Maybe the defense sucked last year. But you know what? Derek Carr didn't play good football. And that's a fact. So going back to the contract situation right now, if I'm a team, the only way I can see Derek Carr actually getting traded, which once again, it's not the end of the world if he doesn't and he ends up getting released. Okay, Stidham, pick number 7, free agency, trades, whatever the Raiders need to do, I have faith that they're going to do that. So I'm not too worried. I'm ready to move on from Derek Carr at this point. I wish him the best of luck, but if they release him or if he denies a trade because he's got the no trade clause, well, okay, the future's in your hands, bro. So I'm ready to move on. That's just the way it goes. But I don't know, man. It's just there's a lot of blame being thrown out, and at the end of the day, the Raiders didn't play good football. I get it. The defense didn't play great all the time. They didn't. Towards the end of the season, they improved. The offensive line wasn't great. Well, towards the end of the season, they improved. I don't care who your play caller is. I don't care who. Listen, I don't care what your defense looks like. I don't care who your play caller is. If I have Derek Carr, a Pro Bowler, Josh Jacobs, who had a career year, Devontae Adams, the best wide receiver in football. Now, there's a lot of things that go into it, like injuries to Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, etc. But I want more than 6 wins. I mean, that's just a fact. So I'm interested to see what happens. The only way I can see him getting traded is if a team like the New York Jets or the Carolina Panthers or the Houston Texans or whatever are like, okay, listen, guys, we don't know what our future holds. So maybe we'll draft a quarterback with our first round pick. But let's go out and get Derek Carr on a several-year contract, and let's ride that out, and our rookie quarterback, that we get in the first, second, third, whatever round can learn behind him, right? However, with the contract, I don't see that as likely, but I don't think it's crazy. So let me know what you guys are thinking about this. As always, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Raiders fans, don't worry, guys. We are close to, not necessarily the finish mark, but we're close to the finish mark with Derek Carr right now. We're less than 2 weeks away from just all of these questions, all this speculation, all these rumors, all these reports. It's all going to be cleared up in less than 2 weeks, 100%. So have a great weekend. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And more Raiders content coming soon. Peace.